Yes, people, welcome back to the first XI, the United transfer talk. We're going to be talking about potential signings, players we should be moving in and out, the budget, and what should be a priority for Manchester United. As ever, joined by Rachel, who's actually out at the moment, so she can't turn the camera on, but I promise you that is her there. You'll know when she's speaking. First thing I want to talk about is Bailly. Eric Bailly apparently wants out. Manchester United don't want to give him a new contract. What's your first thoughts when it comes to Bailly? And let us know in the comments as well, people. Each one we go through, I want to hear from you. So, Bailly, what's your thoughts?
You know what? I'm cool with him not him going in the summer. If I'm honest with you, if we're going to get a centre back in, if obviously being the operative word, but if he's gonna go, I wouldn't have a problem because he's not playing enough games for us. He's a great defender when he plays. He's solid most of the time, a bit reckless at times, but overall, I think he's our best defender. But he's too injury prone. I think he's played 16 games this season. It's not good enough. We need someone that's more reliable. It's why Maguire and Lindelof play so much. It's because they're reliable. They're barely injured, and we need more. We need a better player who's more reliable in that sort of area, in my opinion.
Yeah, I keep saying it. He reminds me of Ledley King.
Yeah.
For Spurs, older fans will know that Ledley King was an outstanding player, incredible defender, but he just could not stay fit. And I think my personal opinion for Eric Bailly is that I think with the injuries he's picking up, maybe England, Manchester, the weather isn't good for him as well. It's like recovery's not going to be great midwinter football in the UK. I'd actually quite like to see him go to Spain, like a warmer climate. Maybe a less physical league, maybe for a season at least, so that he can build some form. Does this open the door though for? I read this morning Verane could be available. Do you think this is part of why Manchester United aren't looking at giving him a new deal to bring a player like Verane in?
Maybe, and if that's the case, then that's great for us. If I'm honest, because I like Varane. I think he'd be a good addition to our defense. So if we do get him Varane, and we get rid of Bailly, it's fine. If we get rid of Bailly first, and then we end up not getting Varane, I'm going to be furious. But if we're guaranteed to get Varane, then Bailly has to go, in my opinion, anyway. So I think it's fine to do that. If the club are planning to do that, then it's a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Any other targets you'd like to? Because we're linked with a lot of centre backs. Is there anyone else you can think of who would be great to partner Maguire in centre back that Manchester United could get?
Do you know what? I haven't seen enough of that Milenkovic guy. If I'm honest with you, I know Danny spoke about him in his video, but I haven't seen enough of him personally to make a judgment. I don't see what the big deal is with Koundé. Obviously, there's Tyrone Mings. I don't want him. Ben White, I don't want him either. There's no one that really stands out for me as centre back. It's kind of like the striker issue, isn't it? Like there's no massive standout that's going to be realistic for us to get. I know you want Haaland, but it's not realistic.
Everyone wants Haaland.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's not realistic,
I do. Big up Ryan in the comments. I do and I don't. I do because he's an incredible player, and I think he fits the profile for Manchester United, especially with the counter-attacking and the young players. But the money. Yeah. We've got so many positions to fill. Centre-back, I think we need a second right-back. We definitely need a midfielder. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. We need a right winger, and we need a striker. Yeah. Like I don't want us to blow the budget on a Haaland. That would be stupid. And I don't care what any fans are saying. He's there for 3 years max. That he is there for 3 years max, and if you do keep hold of him, then you're paying silly money to keep him. I don't. Yeah, it's not for me. But let's get into midfielders. Lingard, his season incredible. If he continues this form, he's definitely going to earn himself a move. The Declan Rice, I know you really love Declan Rice for Manchester United. Would you? Yeah. Do you think that there's a possibility that Lingard could be part of that deal for Declan Rice?
He should be part of that deal. I know a lot of people are saying bring Lingard back to Manchester United, but Lingard wants first team football and he's not guaranteed that, especially if Bruno stays fit.
Yeah.
So he needs to go to a club like West Ham where he'll get minutes. But Declan Rice and Lingard is the obvious deal to go for this club. And I swear, if they're not even thinking about looking at this deal, then they're all off their heads. Honestly, this is
They
perfect.
must be, right?
They should. Well,
They've
yeah,
got
they
to
should
be.
be absolutely, because Declan Rice is exactly what we need in midfield. I know there's other options like Basuma and Ndidi. I think
Is Ndidi an option though? I can't see Leicester. I can't
he'll
see
be so
Leicester doing
expensive.
that.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, like, there's a big difference between, like, there's different kinds of defensive midfielders, isn't there? Like different kinds of defensive-minded midfielders. There's, you know, a proper defensive midfield like the Michael Carrick mold or the Declan Rice mold, where they're very good at sort of intercepting key passes before they get to key players. Or there's people like, you know, Basuma and sort of like Ndidi, who are ball-winning midfielders. They've this like Ndidi's good at reading the game, to be fair to him, but he's more of a ball winner. And I don't think we need more ball winners in our midfield. We need someone who can read the game well, who can distribute the ball when he gets it, and that's what Declan Rice can do.
Rice's range of passing as well is just
exactly.
It's quality. Big up Lanzy, always in the comments. West Ham fan. Our owners have said we won't do a deal that involves swapping Lingard plus cash for Rice. Here's the thing. I think West Ham will do whatever it takes to keep hold of Declan Rice. I really do. I think he's that good. He's going to take the armband from Mark Noble if he stays.
I'm yet to see Declan Rice have a bad game. I'm yet to see it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with you. He's so consistent. Like he's such a good player. West Ham are so lucky to have him. That's how highly I rate this boy. He's so good.
West Ham over the years have had some great players come through.
Yeah.
They really have. I mean, it's probably why Frank Lampard was looking at him for Chelsea. You know, Declan Rice, a Chelsea fan, and obviously Frank went the same route. They had Rio Ferdinand, just great players coming up through.
As well, didn't he? And,
yeah.
Joe Cole.
Yes, that's right, Joe Cole.
Well.
Yeah, some incredible players through West Ham. Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I know it's a slim chance, but if they get Champions League football, that is just he's staying. There's no moving him, getting the armband and getting the armband from Mark Noble and Champions League football for West Ham. There's no moving Declan Rice.
You know, that's actually fair. I think he could probably end up staying one more season because, you know, it's Champions League football with West Ham and that. But
as a captain as well. Yeah,
he is going to leave eventually because unless West Ham put in a lot of investment, which I don't think they're that kind of club to do that, to strengthen the team and become an established top 4 team and a Champions League team, Rice is going to leave anyway because West Ham won't be able to sustain it over a season. To have Champions League games and then have Premier League games and then all the cup competitions, is their squad big enough to do that? I don't think so. So they'll just fall off, and it might, even though it's nice to have Champions League football for these kind of teams, it can work to their detriment as well in the next season. So he might stay another season, but I reckon the season after he's gone anyway.
Yeah, it's just where he goes, whether he'll go to Chelsea or Man United can do the deal. I think Man United really do need him. I mean, Declan Rice in that midfield, we definitely go up a level. That's the key area. I'll get through a few comments. Hassan, people called me mad when I said he was quality. Shame on those people.
Yeah.
Comrade Edward Wood watching the show saying we can't spend money because of COVID. Yeah. Woodward's the problem. That he's always going to be a problem. Don't believe all this. We've got people in roles. He's still heavily involved, and he's still worse than the coronavirus for Manchester United. Looks like Neil Ashton has settled in his position. Joined a year ago. His buddies, Simon Jones, Athletic Boys, are getting a lot of things right and throwing some PR. Yeah, I mean, Neil Ashton from the Sun. He was brought into Manchester United for PR reasons. We all know that. He's very good at what he does. It's just a shame it's at Manchester United. Daniel messaged me. What? Okay, cool. Rice is a baller. I said at the start of the season, for 50 mil, we need him too. I am tired, man. I've had a long night, 2 young kids. Yeah.
But he's got a haircut though, so it's worth.
I did finally got a haircut. Yeah, I got rid of the hat. As much as I hate Ed, he's wanted Varane for years. However, this time with 1 year remaining, and especially Varane being at Madrid for over 10 years, he wants a change. So sounds realistic. I think we can get Varane. I think we can. My only issue is he doing a Ramos right now? That'd be my only little niggle in the back of my mind. Is he pushing for a new contract at Real Madrid? You never know with these players. You just do not know. There's too much money in the game, too much player power.
Yeah, but you know what it is? If we don't get Varane, if the club are doing things properly with this new structure, then there should be alternatives, like genuine alternatives, like Milenkovic and whatever. Like as I said, I haven't seen enough of him, but statistically, like he doesn't look too bad, Milenkovic. So you just never know really. As long as if we go for our first target and it happens to fail, as long as we got a second an alternative that is worthy of being an alternative, then sure, then just bring them in instead.
Yeah. A few more comments. PR can be used for negotiations. Makes sense with the long, drawn-out negotiations. I think it depends on the other club's media. Read it. And yeah, he should DM you about it. Might be a glitch. Can't put comments in the chat. Okay, yeah, DM me. I don't know what that's all about. Ram's talking about his haircut and VHS videos. Got a big game tonight, ain't you, Ram? Real Madrid. PR is the best. Other thing is Paul Pogba. Does he stay at Manchester United? I'm going to read out some of the report anyway, even though I don't believe it. In fact, I'm not even going to read the report out. It's basically I'm that disinterested in it. It's rubbish. Ronaldo Pogba swap deal.
No.
Yeah, let's leave it at that because that's never going to happen. Does Pogba stay? Do you think Pogba stays at Manchester United?
I'm starting to think he will. Actually, before I wasn't very confident in it, but when you actually think about it, there are very few clubs that can afford him. Maybe PSG can afford him. I don't know if they're going to go for another midfielder, especially one on Paul Pogba's wages. They might tone it down a bit and get someone a little bit cheaper. But there's nowhere realistically for him to go where he will be challenging for the titles that he wants. So unless it's PSG, of course. So if PSG aren't in for him, where does he go that we will sell to who are actually going for titles or Champions Leagues and that? I don't really see it, if I'm being honest. Because Real Madrid, Barcelona can't afford him or his wages probably. Juventus can't afford his wages because even if they get rid of Ronaldo, they do the swap deal, it's not like Pogba's going to be on like tiny wages. They're still going to have a wage issue at Juventus anyway. That's why I don't think that rumor is even remotely correct anyway. That's a ridiculous thing for them to do.
I can't really see Pogba going. I've said for a long time actually he's not leaving. I don't understand how he can leave or why he would leave right now. Like we said before the stream started, what you said, sorry, that is Juventus a better project than Manchester United right now? And
it's the same project, isn't it? Just a bit behind.
Yeah, it's the same, and actually the squad looks happy. And if the one thing I've said all along, it depends on this window. I think if Pogba knows we're signing a Declan Rice or a Haaland or a Sancho or a Verane, like big players coming in, that's going to sway him to stay.
Yeah.
If we end up going out and getting a Danny Ings and Cavani leaves, he's probably not going to want to stay, is he? Let's be honest. He was going to want big names around him.
I know the Danny Ings thing is a bit.
No, I mean if it was just Danny Ings.
If it was just Danny Ings, then I understand that completely. But I don't think Danny Ings is actually that bad of an option. If it's true what Ollie said, because I heard apparently he said that Cavani wants to leave United not because he doesn't enjoy it here, but because with the lockdown and that he just misses his family, which is viable because they're in South America, aren't they? So he's far away from his family. He probably misses them, and he's been isolated since he's been here. So maybe that is the factor there. If he is okay with staying, and he can he can be fit, then there's no problem for him to stay for another season. I think like with Cavani, but it all comes down to how he's feeling within himself.
I think he's got to. I think for Manchester United, he has to stay.
Yeah.
That's got to be a big priority for them. Number one, you can't replace Paul Pogba.
Mm.
And what is the next level down to Paul Pogba? Like, who can you get in? I mean, there's talk of Camavinga, but I don't think he's going to do the sort of job that United are looking for. If that's the only signing,
There is no one.
there is no one. And also, why would you put like sell one and just bring one back in to do the same role? We're at the stage now where we should be adding quality to the quality we already have, not replacing it. Do you know what I mean? With just that constant cycle of replacing players, we can't continue to do that. Let me read out a few comments. I think Pogba leaving because Edward will wait until the end of January, offering him a new contract. United are in a better stage for Pogba right now. Talking about Juventus. I don't think United fans realise we have locked PP down, similar to Kane. Why do you think Riola is doing everything? Listen, this could all be for a new deal. Yeah. This could all be for a new contract. I mean, Paul Pogba is loved by the fans. I know some fans are just I don't want to swear too much on these streams anymore. Yeah, special. Yeah, and hate Paul Pogba for some reason. I don't get it, because he is by far our best player. We need to do everything we can to keep him and build on what we have. Next one would be Cavani. So a lot of talk about the club trying to keep Cavani, his influence on the other players. We actually seen it. In the Spurs game. I think Danny mentioned it as well. That he turned around to Mason Greenwood and said, I need the ball quicker. You have to move the ball quicker. And next thing we know, first touch, cross in the box, a goal from Cavani.
Yeah.
My only problem with it is the 210k a week. Is that something that United should be looking to do? Should we be looking to keep Cavani and go out for a Sancho, a Declan Rice? What should United be doing with Cavani?
As I said before, if he's happy to stay another season, then he needs to stay, because we don't have a nine. Like the movement that he did for his goal when Greenwood crossed it in, there is no one at our club that does that. There is not one person that does it. And we need that, because I am so sick of players not getting into the box when they should, not moving in the box. Cavani does it, and he's just a predator. Like, he may miss chances, as you said, he's always done that throughout his career, but the movement alone is ridiculous. His movement is just so good. The amount of space he opens up for our players is ridiculous. So he has to stay. I understand what you're saying with the wages, but if we go out and buy a striker, a quality striker, the wages won't be as high as Cavani's, but there will be a transfer fee, and it might not be the quality that we need, and it will blow a lot of our transfer budget, which will mean that other key areas that I think are slightly more important, especially if we've got the option to keep Cavani, like we need to make sure those positions are done as well, because we have the option to keep Cavani and improve other areas. So I think we keep him.
Yeah, I'm not against keeping him. If it means we are definitely going to be signing other top players. I think it's actually going to be a huge problem if we let him go. A lot of people were really angry when we signed him, and I was angry that he was announced on the last day with a number 7 shirt, like we pulled something huge off, because we hadn't. He was a free agent.
It was such a joke.
It was a joke, and given the number 7 shirt and things like that, but for me, he still has the best movement in the world for a striker in and around the box. His timing for runs is just perfect. And he may be 35, but watch him. Just watch him throughout the game. Forget about what everything else is going on. The slight movements, a few steps to the right, a bending run, the way he chases down the ball, he works hard for the team. And actually against Spurs, he showed a lot of leadership qualities. He got in the Spurs players' faces. which is great to see. You know,
He was
you need.
fuming after that disallowed goal. Like you could see
Yeah,
it.
and so he should be. So he
Yeah,
should be. That was
absolutely.
ridiculous. That was
Yeah.
crazy because that was a great goal. There was nothing wrong with it. It's
Well,
not a
Pogba
foul.
did the same thing in the build-up for the Greenwood goal. The exact same
Yeah.
thing, but it wasn't punished. And I think it happened to Rashford earlier on in the game as well, and that wasn't punished. So I don't understand. You know what? Let's not even go into it. But it was a ridiculous decision. Insane to me.
Yeah. Comrade Edward Wood, the GOAT, deserves respect. Yeah. I'm glad you said trolling at the end, man. I was about to ban you. Get Sancho and DM and keep Cavani for one more season.
The dream.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great window, right? Even if we don't get a centre-back. When
know
you
what,
think
though?
about Manchester United, I think that's a great window. A Sancho and a Declan Rice. Wow.
The thing is, if our budget is actually say 150 million, which you told me earlier, you can get those two players, and you could even spend 10 million on. I think Milenkovic is actually going for like 10 to 15 million, isn't he? He's not even
I
expensive.
don't know, is he? I
think
haven't
so.
seen
I
it.
think I think it's something to do with a release clause or something. Like, don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure it's something very, very cheap. He's not like a 50 million pound defender or anything. I don't think so. You can do smart business, and that's not taking into account the players we'll get rid of. Like, there's so many fringe players that shouldn't be here, like Mata, Matic, Pereira, obviously Lingard's going as well. These are players, you get them off the wage bill, and it's huge for us.
Oh yes,
it's about being
around 20.
intelligent this
It's
summer.
around 25 million. 25 million a year, Rachel. That we're blowing on players that we
Phil
don't.
Jones.
Yeah, Phil Jones, Jesse Lingard, Pereira. I mean, if you put, we'll talk about it in a minute, but De Gea. You know, if we can put De Gea's wages in there as well. But first, people, please smash the like button, subscribe if you are new. Our socials are in the description below, Instagram and Twitter, and our personal Twitter. So please do that. But yeah, I just think that Cavani staying is huge. I think that would be a big thing. I do question his fitness. But then if we did sign if we signed a Jadon Sancho, another right winger, someone who can play across the front line, that gives us more options, a few more options, and it's not as weak as we were this season. Or maybe we'll get Danny Ings on a free as well. Who knows? You never know. We do know that Manchester United want a striker. We know that's. We know that's.
This is the thing. If Cavani does leave this summer and we bring in Danny Ings, he would have the same role in the team as Cavani. He's not as good as Cavani, but he would have the same sort of role. But he'd be on lesser wages, and again, that would free up the wages for another player to come in. So there are options. It's just a matter of our board and everyone involved in that doing the right things for the club, which is something that we all struggle to deal with because we know by history they won't do that. So we're hoping that we're hoping that they're going to do something in the summer that they haven't done before. That's the problem, isn't it? Like, be intelligent, make the right kind of moves, right profile of players, and give Ollie what he wants. Which
that's all we're asking for, really, isn't it? It's find the right profile of players. We want balance in the side, and build from here. Like, this is where we are. We want to go this way. We don't want to stay where we are because everyone else around us is strengthening. Chelsea will go out and buy players. They'll spend money. Liverpool will be stronger next season. I still don't think they're going to win a title, by the way. No, I don't. I don't think that.
Neither do I.
I don't think it's possible. City will buy players. They will strengthen. Leicester are always going to be a problem. I don't think they're going to win a title or anything, but they're going to take points off of teams.
They're always a factor in title races. They will always be a factor because they are a strong team.
They're the teams that can decide it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it's a really tight race, the last thing you want to do is play Leicester. Let's get into a few comments here. Ray says, "Don't blame Cavani. Imagine joining and all is cursed, and then you can't even enjoy the city tellers." What am I reading here?
I think he's saying that because Cavani joined during COVID times, he hasn't been able to enjoy the social life.
Okay, yeah.
He's been on his own. I think that's.
If it wasn't for Fred and Bruno, I'll be locked up in my house all day.
Yeah, it must be difficult coming from another country where he doesn't speak English very well either, does he?
That's right.
So, and his family's away. It is very difficult. So if he's homesick and that's the reason why he wants to leave, I don't blame him. You can't hold that against him, to be honest, because it is difficult.
Yeah. Cavani doesn't want to leave because of United. He wants to leave because of humanity reasons.
Yeah.
Age is just a number, Indiana. Thank you, Aaliyah. Cavani deserves to play in front of United crowd. This will rob many older generation fans. 361 goals from 615 games across multiple leagues. Yeah, I mean, he's a great goal scorer. His record speaks for itself. And what he adds to the game as well is just incredible. I really would like to see Van der Beek step up. I think he could be. I think he could really help with Cavani. Those two intelligent players. Again, I think that will come down to a Declan Rice coming in for us to be able to play Donny in there. But we'll see what happens.
Interesting. You know the formation we played in the second half against Spurs?
Yeah.
There were times where Bruno Fernandes actually played up top with Cavani and Rashford sort of came into that sort of false sort of 10 role throughout the game. If you put Donny van der Beek in there instead of Rashford, Rashford hasn't been very good the last few games. And he's obviously injured. But you put Donny van der Beek in there, you have Pogba in there, like both good movement, good passes of the ball, and you have Bruno and Cavani in there. In certain situations, obviously that formation doesn't work for every single game. It's not like our new formation or anything like that. But in those sort of situations with that sort of formation, you can play Donny, but Donny has to be further up the pitch. Like we can't play him in a holding role or in a pivot because he's too attack minded. Like Pogba, you either stifle him or he vacates his position and it causes us problems defensively. So you need the balance. That's why we need a DM. And then if we get a DM, you'll see the best of Donny because Donny will be able to have the freedom to go forward without being stifled, without being forced to come back all the time. That's what the problem is with Donny at the moment. We don't have a balanced midfield to put him in there.
Yep, no, that's true. Rohan, that Milinkovic centre back for Fiorentina is very, very cheap. He has 1 year contract left. We can get him for about 20 mil. Listen, if he fits the profile of the club like him, I'm all for it. Trust me. I think those are the sort of deals that we should be doing.
Smart deals.
Yeah, smart deals. Yeah, we don't need. The thing is, you don't have to go out into the market and Man City don't go out and blow budgets. They don't go out and do that. They're not spending 150 million on players. Could be wrong. They might buy Haaland this year, but
you know what it is?
That would be out the norm.
They don't spend 80 million on one player. They'll spend 30 to 40 on multiple players, and it will be a lot at the end of the summer. But they're usually intelligent with it. They'll buy a few smaller players, and if they don't work out, it doesn't matter because one or two of those other signings will work out. But they're smart with it. Like it's like this whole Nathan Ake thing. They got Ake and they have Ruben Diaz, right? Yeah. One has been fantastic. The other has barely played. No one talks about Ake because Ruben Diaz is doing so well and Man City are top of the league. That's how Man City do their business. It's smart. No one cares about their failed signings because the other ones are working so well. And they have so many of those kind of signings.
They move them on. They do it all the time. They move them on and they'll buy someone else.
Proper backing that.
Yeah. No, it is. It really is. Imagine that at Man United. Oh, Fred's not working out. McTominay's not working out. Okay, let's move him on. Let's get someone else in. Yeah. Comrade says, I'm a Martial fan. He has not been good this season, but I still believe in him. Listen, I still. No, I don't see him as a striker. that's my opinion. I don't think he's got the instincts to be one. That's just where I see him. But I do like Martial running up. He's my favourite player to watch when he's running up. He's entertaining. If I went to Old Trafford to watch a game, I would want to see Martial beating players. I'd want to see that. That would get me off my seat. So yeah, I don't think it's time for him to leave right now. But next season is huge for him, in my opinion. Yeah. I think if he doesn't have a great season next season, he will be off. I want Cavani going because he's injury prone.
It's fair.
Yeah, no, I do hear that. But who do you buy? When you've got so many other positions to fill. I mean, I'm a bit biased because I love Cavani, but I do get the injuries have frustrated me as well. They are frustrating. Yeah. Rich Sports, big up Rich. If Cavani wants to stay, I'd keep him, but want a backup. He's missed quite a few games. Yeah, I mean, the backup's there, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, because hopefully he'll kick on, but Mason Greenwood is there. Martial has obviously played through the middle, and then they're not going anywhere. So I think the whole talk about striker is that they know that Martial's not that natural finisher that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking for. Cavani has been injury prone. It's going to be a struggle to keep hold of him. It makes sense for United to go for a striker. It really does, especially if Cavani's not going to stay.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to blow the budget on a Haaland or a Harry Kane. I don't want him to do that.
Well, therein lies the problem.
Yeah, and unless they are going to be smart in other areas, like if they buy I know Neto's injured now, but Rafinha, if they bought a Rafinha instead of a Sancho. I don't want them to blow the budget on two players when we have so many holes to fill. But listen, people, please smash the like button, subscribe if you are new. Socials are in the description below. What we've got here, Ray, based on all the reports in last year, it makes sense realistically. Sancho, Haaland, Rice, Varane, Pogba contract renewal or sold, and VDB his replacement. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll look at it like that, because I don't think that Van der Beek has performed to where United would like him to have performed. But he did come in knowing, reports came out, he knew full well he was going to be a bit part player. It was going to be a struggle to get in front of Bruno, to get in front of Pogba. Yeah. So he knows where he is.
You know what the funny thing is? This is going to sound strange, but I think if we didn't lose to Tottenham 6-1 the way we did, I think we would have seen more of Donny. I think what that 6-1 and obviously the Brighton game as well, even though we won it, what it highlighted was that defensively we are not good enough to play with McTominay or Fred or Matic and then Pogba next to them. And I think it scared Ollie. And I understand it. That's why we play Fred so often. Even though that has issues in itself, we don't... Defensively, we are more solid, and most of our defensive issues come down to individual errors as opposed to teams breaking us down easily. It's usually one player making a stupid mistake, or being caught out of position, or something stupid, or giving away a set piece. Most of our goals that we concede are through set pieces as well. So I think if we didn't get battered by Spurs and have that such a horrible defensive display in the first few games, you would have seen more of Donny, and it would have cost us in the middle of the season as well. Like, it's really weird because Donny has, like I said before, Donny being in the midfield does cause a problem as well. I know I'm a big fan of Donny as a football player, but in the system that we play, Donny can't play there. He can't play in that pivot because he would end up leaving. If he played there with Pogba would have to hold. We don't want Pogba as a holding midfielder. No one wants that. And like McTominay, Fred and Matic are not good enough to hold a single pivot. So you'll see Donny more once we get the midfield sorted. Like, I firmly believe that anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I 100% I agree with you. That's the other thing as well. You don't want to bring him in when you know you're not going to get the best out of him. That's going to do nothing for his confidence at all.
Yeah, and you'll have more options as well. Like you'll have it won't just be Pogba, Bruno, and then say Declan Rice. You can have Declan Rice, Fred, and Van der Beek. You can have Declan Rice, Fred, and Pogba. You can have a combination of midfield, and it will be balanced. Do you know what I mean? If you need more ball winners in the midfield, you bring on Fred. If you need a bit more discipline, you can bring on McTominay. There's so many options. Once you get a defensive midfielder, it's so important what we need to do.
Yep.
So
no, definitely.
Yeah, that's why I think it's the number one priority for us, to be honest with you.
No, I agree with you. I actually think if we get a top DM, we probably don't need to buy a centre back as much as we would a right winger or a striker. That's just how I feel about it. But
what do you think of Basuma? Because a lot of people are saying we should get him, and I'm
not convinced. I'm not convinced yet. I'd actually like to see him play another season in the Prem before we went for him.
Yeah,
that's where I am with him. But
I want tried and trusted. That's what I want.
Yeah, no, that's where we are though. We are carrying enough players right now, in my opinion. Conrad said, I'm worried about the summer because we will make COVID excuses. Oh, we'll make loads of excuses. Don't worry about that. There'll be loads. I would love Sancho, but if United is sold on Ahmed Palestri, then why not go for Rafinha? Agreed. 25 mil for Dan James. Rafinha's off the ball movement in reality. Oh, sorry, is really good, and his links with Bruno will help. Yeah, no, I'm not against Rafinha coming in at all. I'm not against it. I actually quite like the idea of it.
It doesn't have to be Sancho. It doesn't have to be.
No,
Sancho.
it doesn't have to be Sancho. I mean, Sancho is great commercially, right? And incredible talent. Yeah, I'd love him. I would love him there. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But again, we have so many positions we have to fill. We cannot go out and blow the budget on players. We just can't do it. We need to be really careful about the way we approach the market, I think. and hopefully with the new roles at the club, hopefully we are actually trying to do that. I pray we're trying to do that. Rich says, very important window. Chelsea, Liverpool, etc. will be looking to strengthen. Of course
We've
they
got a
will.
theory on Liverpool in the next few seasons. I think we're going to see the American owner syndrome with Liverpool.
Yeah.
I really do.
We'll talk about that. Maybe we should talk about that on Grounded Football Wednesday night. Wednesday night, 10 o'clock on this channel. Make sure you do it. You guys played well against us on the weekend. Your fans and team deserve it. Minus ads who thinks Fred is Jesus. I wouldn't say he's deluded. He's just very passionate about Fred, and he likes him. There are people that prefer Messi to Ronaldo. But do you know what I mean? I know it's very different. Yeah, Daniel J. Now that's crazy.
I'm sorry, when I saw that, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I was in so much shock when I saw it. I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't even comment on it. Really not good enough to replace Pogba. Of course, that's a fact.
No one is.
No, Pogba's next level. We should have got Lings, not kept Daddy. Listen, if you watch the Football Terrace, please comment that, because I was saying it the whole time, but I was an idiot apparently. Seems to be doing all right now, doesn't he? Rachel, how about 4-2-3-1 with what's that? I can't read it.
3 attacking mids: Donny, Bruno, Pogba, with fullbacks pushing up high and Fred and McTominay shielding them. Milenkovic plays in the back three. His ball progression is subpar. What I would say to that is our issues are not so much with the 3 behind the striker. It's more with the double pivot. So McFred will be McFred. They will still have issues progressing the ball up the pitch. And the first phase of attack in the build-up play will still be a problem with those 2 there. So I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't take away the fact that we do need a defensive midfielder. And we can change formation as well with that. If you get a single pivot midfielder, you can play a 4-3-3. You can have Pogba pushing on. And Declan Rice, this is why I said Declan Rice as well. If you've watched Declan Rice and Souček's partnership in midfield, which is quite incredible. Souček scored a lot of goals this season for West Ham from that position. And it literally comes down to Declan Rice saying to him, get forward. Declan Rice will hold a midfield. And that's what we need. We need someone who can hold it, who's intelligent, who will intercept passes. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but Declan Rice is ridiculously good at stopping counterattacks, which is something that
he's a bit Carrick-esque, isn't he? Like the way he's already in position. You very rarely see him sprinting into a position. He's already there, reads the game well.
That's the difference between a defensive midfielder and a ball-winning midfielder. A ball-winning midfielder will allow a key player to pick up a pass, and then that player will close him down quickly, like what Fred and McTominay do. Yeah. But a player like Carrick or Declan Rice will intercept the ball before it gets to that player. That's the play. I prefer those kinds of midfielders. That's my sort of personal preference. I don't mind ball-winning midfielders, but I prefer a proper defensive midfielder personally.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I think the best 2 in the league at it right now are Fernandinho and Fabinho. I think their awareness is just next level.
And their passing range is fantastic as well. Let's not forget about that. They're ridiculously good passes.
I actually think Declan Rice will be better than them passing range.
Do you know what? He has the potential. He's only 21. Do you know how ridiculous that is? He's 21 years old. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know how people don't rate him. I don't get it. He's 21
you know what?
years old.
You know what it was? It was the hype that he came with a couple of seasons ago. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's English, so he's going to be overhyped." But having watched him, I watched him quite a bit the last few months, like properly, just watch West Ham games, and I think he's brilliant. I haven't seen him have a bad performance. He's constantly a 6, 7 out of 10. He's never a 2, and too many of our midfielders are 2s or 9s. They're never 7s, and that's what we need. We need to start getting players that are consistent, because if you look at like Manchester City, for example, or any of the big clubs, when they're having a bad game, people always say, if you're playing poorly, but still winning, it's a sign of champions. And it comes down to the fact that if KDB is not having a good game, someone else will step up, and you can rely on them to be consistent in doing that. We don't have that in our team. If Bruno and Pogba don't step up, we don't score goals. Rash has been playing poorly, and it's caused a problem there. Like you have to be able to rely on your entire team and your bench, and all the best teams have that in abundance, and we don't.
It's very true. It's very true. Rich says, genuinely don't know about Martial. Again, he's got to prove next season. He's got to earn his place next season for me to get back in there, especially if you buy a Sancho type player.
What do you mean? He's a saucy baller, so he should be in the first 11 no matter what, right?
Yeah, if you say so. People talk about Ollie's coaching credentials, but he did coach Ronaldo, Haaland, and other talents. I'm not sure whether he coached Ronaldo. He definitely played with him, though.
Yeah, he did play with Ronaldo.
Didn't he? Yeah, he did. Towards the end of his career. Rachel knows ball on midfield, gets run through. McFred, necessary evil until we get Rice, similar to Matic, so it makes sense. Rachel does know ball, and you should subscribe to the channel because the thing she's got coming is incredible. I think you've got a Luke Shaw player profile, is that right? Coming soon?
Yeah, the viewers asked for a Luke Shaw player focus, so we're going to do that.
Right.
And we're going to do a tactical review on the Spurs and United game on Sunday, which should be fun.
Yep. The game that was played on Sunday, not on Sunday. We'll do it in the week.
Sorry. I worded that poorly.
But please, listen, turn your notifications on, people, because you won't want to miss that. And we want to get your comments as well. Ask me, mainly Rachel, any questions that you might have for her.
Spurs fans as well.
433,
I want Spurs
Bruno
fans.
Rice. Yes, Spurs fans as well. What have we got here? Basuma, please know he's playing in a back three. Pay attention, people. Basuma is a holder with a back three behind him. Basuma is overhyped another season or two. Scout people. He's a holder with a back three behind him. I think he plays with a back three behind him, right? From what I'm getting from that.
But you can only do the job in front of you. Like, he does intercept the ball fairly well. He is quite dynamic on the ball as well. I just think that he's a bit raw and he's inconsistent with it, and that's fair enough because he's quite a young player, isn't he?
Yes.
So that's why
he's got a lot to learn.
Option. Yeah, like a lot of people, you know what fans are like. They see him have a good game, and like, oh, we have to get him. No, we need someone that will give us 7 out of 10.
Not go get him on FIFA, have a game with him. He's outstanding. That's normally what happens.
There's more to it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Big up Rachel in Indiana. Getting a DM is key for me. It only works well when you keep Fred, Van der Beek, and McTominay. So there are options, many combos to use. It's exciting to think about. Ads, I know you love Fred. I do think Fred has a role. But I don't want Manchester United to be in a position where they have to start Fred.
No, but do you know what it is?
I don't think you build a team around Fred.
No, of course you don't build a team around Fred. But you know, like in bigger games where sometimes you just need a bit more discipline. If you can't out football the other team, like say a Manchester City, where you can't go completely toe to toe with them, and you can't open up, putting Fred in there alongside a DM is an option. And then you could have Pogba or Bruno up there, and we could do, you know, the formation that one of the guys spoke about before, about the 4-2-3-1 being a bit more narrow with Paul Pogba, Donny, and Bruno. That is an option, but you'd have instead of having McFred there, you'd have Declan Rice and Fred. Do you see what I mean? All of a sudden, that formation looks more viable. So, like, I'm cool with us keeping the midfielders that we have. I don't think we will. I think actually Fred will end up leaving if we bring in, say, Declan Rice, and then we build on that and bring in another central midfielder.
You think what, this summer?
No, not this summer. Not this summer. I think if next summer, say for example, Paul Pogba leaves and you bring in like a Banaka or something, and then James Garner sort of makes it through as well. We've got a lot of midfielders all of a sudden, and out of McTominay and Fred will be more likely to leave because McTominay is the academy graduate. Do you see what I mean? Like, I think Fred will be moved on in a couple of seasons.
Yeah, and he's also a utility player, McTominay, right? He can fit in at centre back because he plays centre back for Scotland. He's never going to own a role, McTominay. He's never going to be the best player in his position, but because he's from the academy, he owes the club nothing really.
Yeah,
I don't know why you would move him on until you've got a decent squad. Anyway, he can fit in at centre back in a cup game if you need him to. Like early stages of FA Cup, you can put him in midfield. I mean, you know, we've seen what he did against Leeds. There are certain games where you can play him, and you do need to rotate, you do need to rest, but he's never going to own that position for me.
I agree.
Big up. What did I miss?
About
Quite a lot,
45 minutes?
actually. Yeah, about 45 minutes and 40 seconds. Just basically a quick recap. Bailly wants out. Pogba will stay, we think. Should we keep Cavani? £150 million budget. Declan Rice, Lingard move. Because Lingard's... I hope Lingard moves for Lingard. I hope he moves for Lingard.
He should move. He hasn't been good enough for us for the last couple of seasons, and it might come down to the fact that he's not getting regular game time, which he won't get with us. He's not our first choice player.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to go.
Thoughts on James Garner? What's your thoughts on James Garner?
Do you know what? He's doing well. He is doing well at the moment. I'm hearing and seeing a lot of fans saying that we don't need a DM. We're gonna have James Garner. This is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. James Garner learning off someone like Rice or Ndidi or whoever we're gonna buy for that area is perfect because he's had his loan moves. He'll come back to the club. He can play in the cup games, and he'll just be a deputy to those players, and he will learn a lot off of them. I think he has to be a second choice next season if he's staying. If he doesn't get loaned out again, we buy a DM and we'll have James Garner in that DM rotating when necessary, and that's fine. We need two players that in each position, don't we? And Matic isn't one of them, in my opinion. He has to go. So
I agree with you.
But he is doing well, though. Credit to him because he's scoring goals as well. Yeah,
hopefully he continues on this path and keeps going forward. But I don't think he's ready to jump in just yet. I'd like someone else in front of him. Maybe another season out on loan would be good for him. And then next season, when we've got somebody, the following season when we've got somebody in front of him, someone for him to learn from, and he can come in, to cover, start as a sub, what have you. Ray, take aside Champions League money and stuff. Historically, United spend big every 2 years. Must be in their interest. Loan agreement. Even when Fergie was here, it was every second summer. Firstly, I don't know whether Manchester United will spend big. We tend to spend big when we drop out the top four. There will be excuses this year. I can see them. I can see the COVID excuse. I can see we've got new roles at the club. It's going to take time to adapt to it. All these things. It's going to come out as Manchester United. I just hope we buy 2 top targets. I hope we buy a decent DM, and I hope we buy someone for the forward line. Whether it's a striker or a right winger, I don't really care because we still need an improvement in one of those positions, and I'd rather one than none.
Do you know what I will say to that though? This is actually the first time we've gotten Champions League football twice in a row. And it's looking like there is progression, regardless of how much you hate Ollie. There is progression at the club. So because it's going to be a different sort of scenario this summer to any summer we've had post Fergie. There could be a bit of hope for genuine investment. I'm not saying that I believe that to be true, but you just never know you don't know what they're thinking with regards to that. Getting consistent Champions League money is a big thing, especially for a club like United who are all about money. So you never know with that. It could be a change in attitude from the people at the top because we've gotten Champions League twice in a row.
I hope so.
You never know. Yeah, that's what I mean. I hope so. That should be the way they're viewing it at the moment.
It should be. I don't think it's smart business to not invest now and then wait until you drop out the Champions League positions
exactly.
and then blow a load of money to get back in there. It makes no sense to me, but who am I? Deluded Roy, you support Spurs. Allow. Yeah, okay. Whatever they're arguing in the chat. Mohammed says, I think the only way we get a CDM is if we sell Pogba. Thoughts on getting linked to Neves? He is a deep line playmaker, to be fair.
I like Ruben Neves. I think he's a very good player. Really intelligent player as well. He does what I was speaking about before. He's actually a really good intercepting midfielder. He reads the game really, really well. Good range of pass. I think he's a very good player. If we didn't get Declan Rice and got Ruben Neves, I'd be cool with it. But
yeah, I wouldn't be angry. It's still an upgrade, right?
it is an upgrade. It's not. It's obviously it's better to get a proper sort of defensive midfielder, I think. But Ruben Neves does do a good job in there. Like for us, in my opinion, I think he's a very intelligent midfielder. I just think Declan Rice is. There's a bias here. I've wanted him for ages, but Ruben Neves is a good player.
He's a lot more gifted than people give him credit for. Declan Rice, I do rate him. Imagine a midfield of Ndidi, Pogba, and Bruno. Ndidi, Fred, Pogba, Ndidi, Van der Beek, Bruno. So many options. Ndidi is so underrated. Yet the main man we need for me, top class player. I don't think he is underrated. I think people just know that Leicester aren't going to let him go cheap. He's going to, or not sell him at all. I don't think Leicester will sell Ndidi. I don't think that's going to happen. Not this window anyway. They've got a great project at Leicester. They're probably going to get top 4 football. I can't see him leaving. I just can't see it. I think Declan Rice is gettable. I don't think Ndidi is, and that's the problem. That's why people aren't really speaking about him. But he is a top player. I do like him.
The thing is, though, like...
Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry, hold on a second.
Go on.
No, I was saying with the Ndidi thing, if we were to keep the formation that we play now and played Ndidi and Fred, there's still a bit of a ball progression issue in the midfield. I understand. I understand people say, you know what it is. It's about player profiles, as Danny always says, right? Like you want a player that will allow your other players to thrive alongside them, and sort of hide their deficiencies. If you play Fred alongside Ndidi, you don't hide Fred's deficiencies of not being able to pass the ball very well. Do you know what I mean? Because Ndidi is not an excellent passer himself. When you talk about build-up play in the first phase of attack involving our defenders and our midfielders, I don't think Ndidi is quite the player that we need, if you know what I mean. If you played Ndidi alongside, say, a Ruben Neves, as one of the comments said, it's different. Do you know what I mean? There's a different sort of dynamic to the midfield.
I can see it with a Pogba. Do you know what I think Ndidi would work? I hear what you're saying, because I would prefer Declan Rice with his passing range. But the good thing about Ndidi is he knows he hasn't got that passing range. So he just gives the short pass to somebody in a better position than him. He would nick the ball and give it to Pogba, a 5-yard pass. He would do that straight away. So for me, it's still a huge upgrade on what we have.
Of course, it's definitely an upgrade.
I wouldn't want to spend the money on Ndidi when Rice is going to cost the same, if not less. That's where I am with it. What else we got
more
here?
knowing Leicester.
Fred is a defensive box to box. We need a DM. Fred can only do a job that ain't playing to his strengths, and it ain't good enough.
You know what it is with Fred? Like, I've been complaining about this for a couple of years, actually, with regards to midfielders. There are too many midfielders that can't do basic things. Like, you have a ball-winning midfielder, but he can't pass. You'll have a player that can pass but can't carry the ball. So, like Jorginho is an example of this, actually. Jorginho is a very good passer of the ball. He's got a good range of passing. But that seems to be all he can do. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't carry the ball particularly well. He's not that great defensively, even though he plays in a pivot with three centre-backs behind him, blah, blah, blah.
He's no world breaker, is he? He's no sort of...
No, he's not. His line-breaking passes are very, very good, but he's actually limited in other areas of the pitch. So when he has a good game, people are like, oh my gosh, his pass is great, and he has got a great range of passing. But you look at his overall game as a midfielder, it's not good enough. And there are too many midfielders that are like this now. There are very few midfielders that can do everything or a bit of everything, and excel at a certain thing. Like, you look at, say, Steven Gerrard, right? Like, he was a fantastic midfielder. He could do a bit of everything. His shooting was ridiculous. He had a good range of pass. He could carry the ball well. He read the game well. He played in all positions of the midfield. Paul Scholes was the same. Paul Scholes went from playing as a 10, as a second striker, and then slowly got brought further and further back because his reading of the game was fantastic. How many midfielders do you know now that can do everything? The only one I can think of is Verratti. Because Verratti can do everything. You know, Paul Pogba can do a bit of everything, but he's not great defensively. You know what I mean? Midfielders have too
Yeah,
many
yeah.
limits to them now. There's no
Yeah, an
midfielders that
all-round
do
midfielder.
everything.
Yeah, Verratti's the one. Yeah,
I can't think of
yeah.
any, and this is why I have
I'd love
problems with
Verratti, you
players
know.
like Fred. Yeah, I have problems
I
with players like Fred and McTominay. They are too limited. Just like people will label him as defensive box to box midfielder, when really all he can do is win the ball. He can win the ball back. He's not intelligent on or off the ball, particularly. His passing is average. His range of passing is actually quite poor. His weight of pass is poor. McTominay's is
yeah,
even worse. Like
yeah.
he doesn't. He's not a goal scorer or anything like that. He doesn't bring enough to the table for me. And there's too many midfielders like that. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
It's so frustrating to watch it. That's why, like for me, Fred, McTominay, they're just average players, and they should just be squad players. None of this first team talk business. None of it.
No, I completely agree with you. We're at this again. We're at the stage where we can't carry anyone anymore. We have to start buying players for the first XI. That has to happen. How about Conrad? I can't pronounce his name. Is it Lema from Leipzig? Great presser, one of the best pressers.
Yeah.
Probably drilled by Nagelsmann. I haven't really watched him, if I'm honest. So I can't.
It's
comment.
a fair shout. To be fair, it's a fair shout. He is a good passer. He has got a good range of pass actually. But when it comes to pressing, Nagelsmann's teams are very good at pressing anyway. They're great at pressing all over. And the problem with when you talk about pressers, pressing is a team thing. If he's going to come to Man United, for example, and press the way say Nagelsmann has drilled him to press, we don't press like that anyway. We don't press the way Leipzig do. So he'd have to change the way he presses, and he'd have to wait for triggers because that's how we play. We usually have Bruno Fernandes trigger the press, and everyone sort of follows and shifts accordingly. So I understand that it's a decent shout, but how much is he going to go for?
I don't know. I'm going to have to do a bit of homework on him because I haven't watched enough to even comment. VDB suits us, in my opinion. When Pogba leaves, people will realise it. I hope so, if that happens.
Only if we get a DM.
Yeah, Basuma's 25 with a back three behind him. Some more zones are covered. So all Basuma needs to focus on is the ball-winning zones, which is around the centre circle. Distributing, he has free reign. Okay, cool. Centre-back target, mine would be Varane.
I don't think Pau Torres is a good option for us, by the way.
I would like Varane.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of Milinkovic, if I'm honest.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Pau Torres one, I don't know if you've seen much of him. I've watched him a few times. He's a slug. Like, genuine, he's really slow. So I know not everything is about speed, but when you've got a centre-back like Maguire, who's also a slug, even though he claims he isn't, I don't think having two centre-backs that slow would be a good option for us, personally. I think it limits us when we want to play a higher line at times. I know we've done it before with Lindelof and Maguire, but we only did that against, say, Chelsea because they played Giroud, who's also a slug. You start playing against teams that have a front three that's quite speedy. You don't want that against those centre-backs. You want someone with a bit more pace on him. So I don't know. I don't know about Pau Torres. If I'm honest.
Again, if Bailly could stay fit.
That's the dream.
Yeah. What else we got here? Have you not noticed that we now have more than one player in a position we are interested in, i.e. Varane backup Pau, Rice backup Basuma. That's an improvement for me. I mean, we're always linked to everyone, aren't we? My worry with that would be that we will sign the second or third option, and I don't want that to happen. We don't have to do that in every position, but when you're looking to sign for like 4 or 5 positions, at least half of those have to be your top target. At least 2 have to be your top target. There are major problems when you sign your second or third or fourth choice and throw them all together. That's what happened to the Mourinho, in my opinion. Why sell Fred? Just bin McTominay and buy Declan Rice to partner with Fred. I wouldn't want to see Fred and Declan Rice, if I'm honest.
It's an option in some games, but not as a starting.
No, that's not a title winner midfield for me. Bailly leaving is great. Lindelof, better positional defender. I don't like criticising Bailly too much, just because I don't think we've seen enough of him. I don't think we've seen it. I don't like really talking about centre backs unless I've seen a 10-game run.
You're never going to see that with Bailly, though, are
And
we?
you're not going to see it with Bailly, so I don't really want to comment on that because I haven't really got anything to say on it. It's
What I
hard. Do
will
you know what I
say
mean?
is
It's hard.
he is quite a reckless player at times. He does do very strange things, and when he pulls it off, it's great to watch. Like when he does a bit of skill in the box and he gets past the player, it's great. But do you know what? If he plays like 10 or 20 more games a season and he's doing that more often, I think teams will pick up on it more and they will start punishing him for it as well. He's not a perfect defender by any means. It's not like he's the best defender in the world when he's fit or anything. He still has issues with him, like in himself. If I'm being honest with you, that's why he's not worth keeping, because he does make mistakes as well.
Harry Maguire props anyone? I actually liked how he played along with Hendo. Whenever Maguire got caught out a couple of times with Hendo, was sweeping up well and came to collect the cross. Yeah, I mean, I did want to talk about this really. De Gea, it's probably the right time to move him on. If you can get money for him, move him on. Do that.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
375 a week off the wage book. Get some money for him now. Bring Henderson in. It's a young squad anyway. You know, I don't think we're title challengers next season. So that gives him another season. And then maybe listen, we do great business this window. We signed 2 top targets. We move some players out. We get a lot of money off the wage books like De Gea. Henderson has another full season in the Premier League. Maybe the year after. Maybe we might be in a position with another summer transfer window where we can buy, you know, a top target. We could challenge for the title. Who knows? But I don't think it's on for next season. So I still think there's room to play Henderson without it costing us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
McTominay, his level's better than Fred. I mean, they're
2 peas in a pod, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. Two different pods because they both have different types of mistakes and different qualities, but they're both still peas. I agree with that one. Harry Beckenbauer was fantastic. Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit, Maguire. He gets a lot of hate, to be honest.
You know what? I agree with that. Harry Maguire has looked very good in the last few games, but he was partly at fault for the goal we conceded as well. Yeah, on Sunday.
Yeah.
When we go through it, you'll see. Like he still has it. Like, do you know what it is? I think a lot of the problems that we have is that if one person makes a positional error, our team in general are very slow to react in a way that will stop that issue escalating into conceding a goal. We're going to talk about it actually, but overall, I think Maguire needs more credit. I think the start of the season led to him getting a ridiculous amount of hate, like over the top hate, and it's just carried on throughout the season. When he's played a good game, people play it down. When he has a poor game, people hype it up too much. It's not fair on him, to be honest with you. He's not as bad.
Yeah, he's overly scrutinised, isn't he?
It's ridiculous.
And again, we don't have that centre back partnership yet. We don't have a DM in front of him that we can trust. We cannot really judge this back four, and we are second in the league. I think it's 23 games unbeaten away. That, you know, we're another 4 games we match Arsenal Invincibles for that. So yeah, it can't be that bad, can it? Really? But I mean, Maguire.
We're not as bad. We're not as bad at the back as what people think.
Yeah,
we conceded some stupid goals, but it's not because of our defensive style of play. There's been a few individual errors, and there's been a set piece issue, and that comes down to our players switching off in key moments.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, people, please smash a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. There's going to be loads of Man United content coming, and the first XI is we've got so many different types of shows from League 2 up to Fraud Watch, Grounded Football. Myself and Jem have a get to know show, so we've got some great guests coming in. So yeah, please subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on. Even Scotland don't rate McTominay as a midfielder. Yeah, they play him at the back. They play him at the back, but they have also got John McGinn, who I rate.
John McGinn.
Yeah, very. Jose Mourinho get United Champions League twice in a row. What are your guys talking about? I'm talking about me personally. I'm talking about a rebuild. I'm talking about us having sustainability and challenging for titles. I mean, we're getting. No, did he get us Champions League twice?
Well, we got
in a
it through
row?
the
He
Europa
didn't.
League, and then we finished second, didn't we?
Oh yeah. Okay, that's different. So what we're saying is finishing top 4, because for me, it's very different. A cup competition, a knockout competition, is very different to playing in the league. The league tells you how good you are. That everybody's got to play the same games. Knockout football is very different. You play different teams. You can have one bad game, you're out of a tournament. Whereas the league is very different. That tells you how good you are. Again, Arsenal are the 10th best team in the league. That's a fact. United are the 2nd best team in the league.
It's about consistency as well. It shows how you progress throughout a season. You know, we had a really poor start to the season, and yet we're second, comfortably second as well. That shows how consistent we've been since that bad run. And I think we have shown a lot of character this season as well. We may not have had the best performances, but I think even though it's not great to concede first, our ability to get back into games is something. It's very Fergie-esque, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Like coming from behind, not like before. We had moments where we'd concede a goal and then our heads would drop, and it would just stay like 1-0 to the opposition team, and there will be no shots on target, no real threat, barely any chances created, and it just became stale. And whenever we conceded a goal, do you remember what we used to say? We've lost. That was it. We've lost. There was no chance of a draw. There was no chance of a comeback or anything like that. It was just, okay, it's over now. Like the attitude sort of changed. Now we actually believe we can come back into games.
Yep. No, it's true. It's true. Yeah, the comebacks. I love it. That's because when I was a kid, that's what I remember from Man United. It's being a goal down or it's a 0-0, and then it always felt like the last 10 minutes of a game. You know, it's weird when you look back. You kind of just remember the good things that happened at Man United. It's not until you really dig deep into your memories, like, we did lose a lot of games under Fergie.
People forget that we didn't actually play great football under Fergie in the last 2 Premier League wins as well. So when
we
people
didn't have great players to do that, though, did we? Let's be fair.
Well, we had great players, but they would just come into the ends of their careers, unfortunately, and we never replaced them.
The last title, you wouldn't be putting that down as the greatest ever Man United team, would you?
No.
Securing top 4 early has helped to be honest. Hence the rumours spiking. We're going to buy a centre back or right wing in the summer, in my opinion. CDM only if we sell Pogba and Lingard. So I would take Rice, but if we get a Neves, then we will still play McFred. Okay. Why would we go for him then? I like people don't watch footy. Neves. Sorry. Dyslexia kicking in. Neves and Coutinho with a back 3 to provide security. The United play like this? No. We leave 3 players behind on attack. Neves is good, but we still need a DM. Okay. Portuguese excellence with Bruno Fernandes, Neves in midfield. Neves with a really good passing range next to McTominay, who's press resistant and excellent with those late runs, would be great. I'm not putting McTominay in our midfield. Unless he's there to cut the grass. GNA TV preferring Didier over Rice, but have you checked his injury record? Look it up. Rice has had his first injury in 4 years. Lanzi, since the start of 18-19 season, Rice has missed 6 league games.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's crazy, especially for the way he plays as well and the position that he plays in. I agree, Rachel. Specialist only DM controls a game. Rice can intercept and pass. He's got a good shot on him. Yeah, he has. Verratti misses out on aerial. Pogba is literally the all-round. But issue is he needs help. Yes, he does. He does. Again, this is why I think Pogba will stay if we make top signings.
Don't get me wrong, though.
Underrated, quality holding midfielder. His passing range, press resistant, ball progression, Premier League proven, leader, investment for years. Agree with that, Mohammed. Yeah, sorry, Rachel, what were you saying?
No, I was saying, like, don't get me wrong. Paul Pogba is a world-class player. He's an excellent player, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't fall under this umbrella of midfielders not being able to do everything. Like defensively, he leaves a lot to be desired. Let's be real. I mean, his attacking qualities is fantastic. His ability to control football, his dribbling, his passing, etc. are great. Like we all know how great he is at that. But he does have an issue of concentration and holding on to the ball too long as well. And he's literally cost us goals that way as well. Remember, like, love Paul Pogba. He's my favorite player at the club. But just because he is doesn't mean that it doesn't mean
is that because he wants to play the ball early. Is that because
not always?
He'd rather want to pop it off. Maybe he doesn't trust the players he's with.
Sometimes it's a lack of movement as well. But I was watching even against Spurs actually when I was watching him. There was a moment he picked up the ball on the right side, and there was a free pass into Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and he chose to hold on to it and turn into a bit of traffic. He got past the traffic. Don't get me wrong, he was brilliant, but you can still, like, if it was a thing where it was about him playing off the ball quickly and no one was moving, that's not it. He does tend to go for the more difficult option as well. Like Bruno will go for a difficult pass as opposed to an easy one. It's just the type of players that they are, and that's fine. Yeah. But if Paul Pogba loses that ball in that situation and AWB's made the run, then there's a massive gap on our right side where the opposition team can win the ball back and penetrate that space. So Pogba does have moments where he brain farts or he just loses the ball in ridiculous areas. Yeah, exactly.
He's human is what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Like he's not a perfect player, and that's fine. It's fine for him to not be a perfect player. Do you know what I mean? Like with I think it was Ray who said Verratti's weakness is in the air. Yeah, that's fine. If his only weakness is in the air, we could deal with that. If we got him at the club, aerially is where funnily enough, we're actually okay, even though we concede goals in other areas, but aerially we're fine. So as long as you've got players that can complement a player you're bringing in so that their deficiencies are not shown as much, then there's no problem with that. That's why I don't like the whole Pau Torres and defense thing, because the fact that he's slow, he might be positionally good, but if he's slow, then it doesn't make up for Maguire being slow, does it? They're both slow, and that's a problem in itself.
No,
it's
very true.
Complementing players, isn't it?
I'm going to read out a few more comments and then I've got to wrap up because I'm actually coaching this evening. What have we got here? Pogba isn't press resistant. Notice how now we not so vulnerable at set pieces and how the teams aren't targeting our keeper. It's almost as if we were finally got the man to play as a goalkeeper. Somebody's saying Henderson's ridiculously fast. I did actually see an interview where they said he's faster than Dan James.
Did you see how quickly he got across the goal for the Son goal?
Yeah,
by the way?
yeah.
The speed to get, like, he literally went the length of the goal. He actually nearly saved it. I know we conceded, but I was actually quite impressed with how quickly he got to the other side of the goal. He is quite quick. He accelerates. Like, his acceleration is ridiculous for a goalkeeper anyway. But yeah, no,
that's good.
Yeah, he seems like he could be a very good goalkeeper, but he's just not there yet, in my opinion.
Yep. Right. I've got to wrap up because I've actually got to get out my work gear because I'm still in work gear. And Rachel's hungry. Listen, people, thank you very much for tuning in, and for the people who have subscribed. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel and liked the video, tonight is Next Gen. They're going to be doing a European roundup, which should be interesting. We've got Man United fans, Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans. Who else? Oh, Chelsea fans, obviously.
Chelsea fans everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere over YouTube.
Like little cockroaches.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they just won't go away. The Roman effect. So yeah, please do that. All through the week, we'll be doing Man United content. We've got player profiles, breakdowns of games, transfer news. We'll be bringing it all to you. So please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you watching. And make sure you tune into the evening shows, people.